All right, guys. All right, I think I'm up. That's good. That's good. Hey, what's up, Manuel? Thank you. Okay, so today I've got my browser back. That's good. That's good. Computer's been doing some weird things, you guys. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's just Gamestop is about to run, maybe. I don't know. The whole network is gonna be like going crazy. I have no idea. But let me see. Okay, so let's talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Not quite sure how long I'm gonna be here. Feeling a bit tired. Just ate. I feel like, oh my god, I think I have a food coma. But I feel like I need to come out here and talk about some stuff. So, okay, give me 1 second here. So, let's kick off with a Bitcoin. Yeah? Like Bitcoin just went up an hour ago for whatever reason. Was it an hour ago? Let me see. So, might be some predictability that is happening about tomorrow rate cut per se. Who know if Jerome Powell is gonna, decide to lower the rates. To the lower the better, right? For the time being, obviously. But no matter what, I feel like with the Treasury buybacks that Scott Bessent is already kind of alluded to. I'm sure, like, no matter what happened tomorrow, Scott Bessent's gonna devalue the dollar anyway. So, I'm sure this is probably what people is trying to predicting. But who knows if this is just a knee-jerk reaction here to tomorrow meeting, and it could fake people out too. That this is the second leg up here. But anyway, so while I am taking a sip of water here, I'm going to play this real quick. This is not Jerome Powell, Brow Powell, and he's pretty macro guy where he's talking about the crypto market quite often, and since he's very smart, I feel like let's listen to him, huh? And he's been in this space for quite some time, so I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. So let's listen in.
Bitcoin's already priced it down to 47.4, so Bitcoin's already priced in the bad news. But the good news is financial conditions lead it by 9 months. It's a very useful tool, and it's telling us that we're going to see the business cycle pick up super strong. And this will keep going. I think we'll end up in the 60s. It also prices Bitcoin by doing this. And so when you look at Bitcoin itself, the moment the ISM, we've had this very low period of ISM, and that was driven by this very flat dollar, and also by rates staying higher than normal. But as the ISM starts crossing 50, economic growth comes back, earnings come back, household earnings come back, stuff gets reinvested in markets. So at this point is when Bitcoin super accelerates. And that point lies ahead. We're about to see that point now. Now, I haven't shown it on this presentation, but we've also imputed how it reacts to ISM. And if we get to that 57 ISM, that puts Bitcoin at 450,000. All of the people are saying it's going to 150,
Think Capital isn't your typical prop firm.
looking data. So it's incredible. 150 are probably scarred from last cycle without looking at the forward-looking data. So it's incredibly positive for me. It also is what drives altcoin season. So the fabled altcoin season, everyone's like, it's never going to happen again. It's just a function of the business cycle. Why? Because household earnings are still subdued, because the business cycle is subdued. Average businesses outside of technology have subdued earnings. The moment the business cycle picks up, everyone has spare cash. cash gets recycled into assets. People move further out the risk curve. So altcoins are exactly the same as credit spreads, small caps, emerging markets, junk bonds, all of this. They're all exactly the same thing. The further out the risk curve, the business cycle actually drives all of it. It's also the same with fine wines. It's also the same with Rolex watches, all driven by the same thing. So we all want to see the ISM above 50. We've got the forward-looking data to say it's going to happen pretty soon, and that's going to be a very big signal to us. Everyone's like, no, but the markets and Trump and tariffs and geopolitics and China and then Russia and that's all the, and what you've all done is price in maximum fucking fear. At every point, you've got, this is number of stocks with a 40 days RSI below 30. This was before the rally really started. One of the few ever, this is the same as we had at COVID, when the world shut down.
Okay, so that chart was very crazy, huh? Like the way that the media paint today's market, right? Sky's falling. You know, just like he's saying. It's like, it's max fear right now. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not gonna, you know, spike up the fear again and then people are just freaking out and then sell it out, you know, running with their head, like a chicken with the head cut off, right? Just every direction whatsoever, right? And here's the thing, like they do this quite often. Anytime Jamie Dimon comes out and say, oh, you know, the storm is coming, right? What happened? That's usually the best time to buy, right? I'm not saying just to be like oblivion to it, but don't freak out. Like if, again, I'm telling you, like when you're trying to time the market and all that stuff, don't do what the media is telling you. You know, look at the data here, right? People are presenting this data and all that stuff. Now, you could say, well, these are just cherry picking and all that stuff. Well, okay, well, I mean, you know, he has a track record and he's been pretty accurate, in my opinion. In macro terms, like, of course, like the directional of the markets can be steep, but even just like Warren Buffett was saying, right? I think Carter did a show and he showed that, where he was saying, hey, if Berkshire Hathaway were to drop 50% tomorrow, he wouldn't be freaking out. In fact, it would be a great buying opportunity, right? Now, of course, that's based on your risk tolerance. Like if you ready to retire tomorrow, okay, you wouldn't be, or you shouldn't be, you know, in like you should have some cash laying around. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so you shouldn't be in the market, all of your money in the market, because you need to retire tomorrow. You see what I mean? So, just know your risk tolerance. There you go. Speaking of Carter, you need to know your risk tolerance. But for people who have time to wait, don't freak out. You're okay. You know, the sky's not falling yet, right? And if the sky falling, you know, that would be your biggest problem, not the stock market, okay? Not GME, not Bitcoin either. And so, you know, I know people get so antsy sometimes, and of course, you know, I feel like I've been in this market for quite some time, so I understand the sentiment there. I'm not trying to make light of it at all, but I truly feel like the more exposure you have to the markets, and of course, being the contrarian that I am too, I typically, you know, don't want to do everything that other people are doing, that are popular, that are, you know, just, you know, to follow people. And so I have my own, you know, conclusion on things and all that stuff. So I think that's the best way to approach any type of investment that you have, you know, in your portfolio. So, and again, too, you know, you are the only person that could control it much better than anyone And the more control you have on your emotion based on the price action, the better. And make sure you understand the instrument in which you are choosing, to carrying you forward into life. Because this is like your future, right? So of course you're gonna have to learn a little bit more and understand it on a deeper level than just number goes up on the screen, right? And so yes, while that is the goal for everyone involved in the stock market, you also can make a lot when it comes down to, right? And I'm not talking about betting on direction up and down, not at all. But there's some strategy of like, buying puts and selling call and all that stuff. So, but make sure you know what you're doing. Okay. But anyway, let's go back to this graph here. He was showing that people are pricing in, meaning that this drop here is like, like pandemic level type of thing right there. Even higher than the pandemic level. the crazy, amount of fear mongering, the way that they are, the market outlook, so to speak. So sentiment is very bearish right now, which is the best time to buy typically. Not saying that it's gonna like skyrocket tomorrow and you're never gonna catch it ever again. But of course, with every bubble, it takes some time to burst. Okay. So unless something breaks, but you could see some cracks there already, presenting in the bond markets, treasury markets. Typically, mainly on the treasury market though, because again, over leveraging hedge funds, and they just use so much money, in order to make a tiny amount, but then they need this big collateral, right? And so they are able to leverage it up, 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1. Something ridiculous like that, right? And so that's why, remember the Taiwanese currency versus dollar went haywire, and again they blame it on speculator on stuff like that. So, but it's typically, again, the leveraging is not a very pretty sight to see when you're selling some illiquid asset into the market. It's gonna freak people out. And even if you have like $100 billion worth of treasury and you need to sell that in order to get the cash, right? What happened? People see that, right? And then it's like, whoa, $100 billion is leaving, the treasury market. And but typically, again, like hedge fund, they're just way over levered. Okay. And so again, is that good for Bitcoin? I think so. Is that good for GME? Of course, it's going to be good for GME because we were not even leveraged. We have so much cash. Then we know what to do with at this moment, literally. $6.3 billion worth of shareholder equity is nothing to scoff at. And, it's baffled to me still. People are still oblivion to it, which is fine, whatever. They'll find out in due time. But yeah, let's listen in a little bit more here.
We had at COVID, when the world shut down. It's the same as the Russian default and the Asian crisis. People are crazy with fear. Investor Intelligence Survey, percentage bullish, all-time record lows. The least bullish people have ever been in history. And the forward-looking indicators tell you the economy is about to explode higher, and people are massive bearish. What was interesting is we just saw the charts coming out today was that retail investors had been buying the dip. Institutions still haven't. They're all massively underweight. There's another chart, sentiment, bulls versus bears, bearishness, again, all-time record highs, only ever been exceeded a couple of times in history. Consumer expectations for declines in stocks near all-time record highs. The VIX index, the measure of fear or volatility in the index, in the top 3 spikes of all time. And again, using my DMARC indicators, it's generally a reversal pattern. This is the most important chart for you to understand, is that corrections are normal. You've just gone through a normal correction and you've managed to lose your minds, which is hilarious because we've had 7 of these. And
I'm telling you, like, the sentiment is exacerbated through the media. And again, that's why you feel such a palpitation, you know, a heart palpitation every time you listen to like their their analysis on things. And you would think that, the sky is falling, right? Not to say that, to take it not seriously, but at least look at the data first before coming with that conclusion. And, again, everybody is risking here. Every time you're in the market, there's always a risk there. There's always, on the other side, okay, what's happening to the counterparty risk. Okay, there's always, that risk is always inexistent. But is it going to, completely breaks? Might be another year, maybe, after this bubble blow up, right?
last time around, they were bigger. Back in 2017, 28%, 39%, 38%, 27%. Nobody remembers any of those. In fact, none of you remember any of these. Some of you remember this summer because it was pretty miserable. Finally, the fabled banana zone chart. The construct is the same. It's not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase one of the banana zone, banana number one. The corrective zone, banana number two comes. Another correction, banana number three. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats, don't fuck this up, don't lose control of your tokens, don't use leverage, don't get your wallet hacked, just sit with it, be careful, don't get FOMO, do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Sui forward with all of this.
So Sui is another coin that he's, I guess he's majority holders of. So of course he's not advocating for people to buy or anything like that. He, I think that's his best investment. So just in case somebody wonder what that was. Okay, so let's get back to what matters most in this world. And GameStop. I know people are excited. It's May 12 and all that BS again, right? Date. I hate dates, right? People just, again, like I fall for it most of the time, you guys. I feel stupid for saying it sometimes. Like, okay, just one or two call options, right? I'd be like, okay, but even then, I'm like, why? Why is the date so important to these people? But again, I fall for it most of the time, like I said. So I'm not immune to it. And so I'm just trying to caution all of you too. Again, date doesn't matter. That's why I developed my own strategy. of course, buy whenever possible. And then, for the long-term hold. And then if you want to bet here and there, go ahead, do your thing. It's up to you if you want to lose more money because of that. It's okay, hey, you could always make more, I hope. If not, don't bet on your life savings or anything like that. The good rule of thumb is not to over leverage yourself. If you are able to, borrow money. Now, I'm not ashamed to say that I took some loan out of my 401k, and I do have a personal loan as well. But again, I could carry those monthly payment. I'm okay at the moment. But the idea is that I want to take advantage of this, crypto cycle here. And of course, GameStop as well. The risk, risk asset, risk on effect here. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive in what I preach. I get it. Do what I say, don't do what I do type thing. Again, because to me, okay, let's go back to 4 years ago, right? The way that I'm thinking about risk right now, had I took the risk 4 years ago took the personal loan to buy into Bitcoin or, any asset at all, I would have had quite a bit, right? More. So again, I'm not overextended myself to the point where, hey, let's say I lose everything on the loan side, right? I wouldn't cripple myself, right? And so because I could support myself in that sense. So my payments is not that much, And so that's how I gauged how much I'm willing to leverage myself. Okay. So it's only 10% right now of my paycheck. So it's not too bad. It's almost like a 401k type thing contribution. And so why not have that lump sum here so that I could invest the best way I know how. So that's the whole idea. But hopefully this crypto cycle is going to be what I experienced in the last cycle. And so I'm seeing some similarity here as he was showing on that graph. And also too, I think GME is kind of setting up for that as well. Any risk asset is going to do well with this the debt rolling cycle. Okay, that's why the business cycle is like that, where it's kind of coincide with the liquidity pumping into the market due to the debt crisis, because they're gonna have to kick the can down the road again. That's all they could do, right? I mean, they could negotiate on tariffs all they want. Perhaps this is the stalling phase, and it's just a cover story so that they could stall the market, so that again they could reposition themselves. Okay, they repositioning themselves for the next leg up here. While meanwhile they're caution to the wind. Oh, recession is coming, right? Oh, hell is breaking loose, right? Now, I'm not saying to not be aware of what it could mean, for the U.S. dollar here, because when you're debasing your dollar, right, U.S. dollar, that typically means that any asset would go up in price. So yes, inflation's gonna be still a problem for the next generation. So it's even more imperative for people to understand, the scarce asset, and to have at least some asset backed, equity, right? Like GameStop. That's how I think about GameStop. Like it's an asset-rich equity here. So whether they are investing it in Treasury or Bitcoin coming up in the near future here. Hopefully we're gonna see some announcement here, right? We don't know, of course. I don't think we're gonna get any announcement before the actual shareholder meeting. I'm very curious to see if Ryan Cohen will kind of do the switch of giving forward guidance instead of not. So again, that would give a little of surprise, right? Add the surprise element to the whole saga here. But again, it's just me speculating. What if, right? What if Ryan Cohen were to change the way that he, reporting on everything? But let's remind ourselves. I think this is the last shareholder meeting. I think, or 2 years ago, 2023. But yeah, let's remind ourselves what Ryan Cohen sounds like, because we don't hear him talk too much on the earnings call, right? People are so antsy to hear this man's voice for whatever reason. So let's hear it, huh?
I will speak briefly. My father always told me, talk is cheap, actions speak louder than words. My responsibility is making sure GameStop is run by managers who treat company money like their own. In corporate America, the people in charge, the professional directors and management teams, are not aligned with shareholders. They are always the recipient of stock grants. However, they rarely purchase company shares with their own savings. There's a big difference between risk-free compensation for showing up and putting a meaningful amount of your own money at risk. As a result, money is wasted, work is delegated, and a lot of time is spent managing to short-term expectations and pandering to Wall Street. I like people who roll up their sleeves and do real work. People guided by principles, not robots who seek to rest and vest. In corporate America, there's no shortage of overpaid executives, bad capital allocation and chronic waste, and serial delegators. Much as this behavior is both predictable and reprehensible, it is precisely what creates opportunities. Thank you for being a shareholder.
Here are 3.
That was sexy. I mean, how can you?
Are you
not-
really going to miss
Sorry.
this?
We do this training.
Sorry, that was too sexy. I mean, if you hear that about a management, right? About people, okay? About people, sorry. About a company, right? And this is the company leader. Are you telling me you're not like, oh man, this is what the company we should be promoting? I'm so surprised that people don't promote that, you know? I mean, he's talking about how every CEO out there, you know, they're just there to waste money. Do you hear this? Waste money for what? For a better and more improved society, or no? Do you feel a little bit more safe or a little bit more anything? No, of course not, right? Because if you have more and more people like Ryan Cohen operating in that manner in which, yes, guided by principle, when you do business with somebody, you better offer some, quality of your work, right? If you get paid to do something, you better have that, responsibility to do your work correctly, in order to, get rewarded. But we have a perverted incentive for overpaid executive. That's why he said overpaid executive, because they're just there to waste money, right? And that type of culture has been perpetuated or promoted for decades, because that's how they play the game, right? And the game is not to make the best product for society, no. The best company to carry, people's pension fund or whatever to create, the middle class. No. It's the takeaway from the middle class, right? By scamming people, by misleading people, by saying, hey, we're doing this, the greatest thing ever, whatever. I just feel like, again, with that incentive though, it should be aligned, with the value that the shareholder has been given to the executive, the power that, shareholder has been given to the executive. So, I mean, again, that's why he's saying, that's the opportunity that he saw in this particular market, in this particular space, of the time in which we're investing in right now. It's a perfect, unique way to operate in a market that is filled with just this disgusting, way of managing people's wealth. Okay, and so people like that is rare to me, right? And of course, he draws some inspiration from Carl Icahn and Warren Buffett. Right, he's been talking about those two figures not talk incessantly. It's just the observation that I have is picture with Carl Icahn, and also tweeting about Warren Buffett, with the thumb thing, right? Thumb war with Warren Buffett, and so he's been kind of mentioning them by name. And so, in my opinion, right, in my observation, in that, I feel like he's probably is taking those two biggest successful investor, different type, of course, right? Carl Icahn is more like the people that the person that would find companies like GME, undervalued at the time, but estimated by everyone, but still have that ability to turn around. Just like this, right? Where it's broken before, but then you could build it back up by themselves, by your own self. You buy it, fix the company, and then value is going to follow. Because again, you're there to fix the company and sell it off in that sense. So that could be a business model too, that people don't realize that it could be much, much more profitable than, breaking it up. Okay. But yes, it takes some time. It takes a few years in order for people to realize that, in the world of private equity coming in, breaking company, 100-year-old company in 2-3 years, 5 years, or maybe, at most 5 years, right? It's pretty easy money for them, but it's dirty money. Why would you want that, right? And so this is more noble. Yes, it's going to take time. It's going to take some effort to convince people to come in, right? To be in this camp, because they don't see the Lamborghini type of return in one day. And so, of course, they're not going to, pay attention to it too much. And on top of that, again, they probably don't understand what Ryan Cohen is trying to fill. There's a gap here that he's trying to fill in the market. And if you see this opportunity and you don't get into it, then okay, yeah, you might be missing out in 10 years. I'm telling you. And so in 10 years, you might be surprised by, what GME could do, this leadership. Not GME, the company. This is not about the company in and of itself, you guys. Yes, company is great, but the leadership is much more valuable than, the video game company. Okay. Yes, the brand is important. The drive is much more important than the brand. So, yeah, we have a good leadership. I know people talk crap about Ryan Cohen because he's just, again, a very eccentric type of CEO that he doesn't care about, accolades and all that stuff. So, people like that. And of course, he's a workaholic too. Come on, why wouldn't you want that as a leader? So, you want your CEO to be a workaholic and principled, okay? And smart enough to find those deals, okay? So people are going to be like, oh, why is he not find those deals already? Like, announce something already, buy something already. Freaking Warren Buffett didn't buy anything. Why would he buy anything? That's seeking the opportunity. But I really think that he's trying to build GME from the ground up and expanding it from the ground up. And so, adding more and more value into the company takes some time here, but that foundation is very important to, carrying a 30 years runway here. Okay. So again, Warren Buffett type of investment doesn't happen overnight. Okay. So, but you could be sure that, this company is going to be set up for something great. And leadership is going to be, there for the next 30 years. Huh? I don't know how much the share price is going to be, but it could be $95, just you see like here, right? Who knows, in 2 weeks, that could happen too. But just rest assured, something is about to happen. I hate to see if you're just missing out on this, right? But hey, do you? Right? If you see opportunity elsewhere, go ahead, buy those. Don't worry about GME too much. If you establish some shares here and there, you have nothing to worry about. And people have been monitoring the price movement, and you see a lot of bullish bets over here. These puts being bought at above or in the money puts here. So something is kind of people are drawing this correlation here to the moon, right? Buck the Bunny, rocket, moon, ET returning home and all that stuff. So a reference, a nod to investor for sure. It's pretty cool, that we have leadership that kind of know either shareholder base or also people who would buy stuff from GME too. All right, Anthony, what's up? Ryan, go and talk efficient to me. Oh, efficiency. I know, sexy, huh? I'm telling you, I'm kind of in love with this man. Okay, it's okay. Let me just get out of that. Okay. Okay, you don't know what Ryan Cohen is doing right now. He doesn't say much. Okay. All we got is hope. All right. Hope is good. I feel like hope is, it keeps people moving forward. Let's be real. Okay. Okay, you be real. What do you think is happening right now with GameStop? Is it just hope based? Faith? What's happening? Like, are you okay? You don't have to be here. Honestly, I'm telling you as a person that care about you. If you don't, I don't know. Again, like, are you a long-term investor? Are you here for a long time and you just feel so frustrated because the stock price doesn't do anything? Honestly, I know you're here a lot, and I'm not trying to bash you or anything like that. But honestly, to me, it's pretty clear, right? If you are, if you think this is just a speculation, then okay. I mean, sure, I speculate that Ryan Cohen is doing something right now that he's not telling you. But if you think it's just a hope base, then find something else that is more reality based for you, right? So then GME is not for you. I'm telling you. You probably sleep better at night if you buy something else rather than GME. Okay, I think. To me, it's again like I'm so cut and dry like this, where and it's not. It's like, okay, I'm trying to find an easy way for people to be like, it's okay if you miss out on this opportunity too. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be like, oh man, next time I'll be fine. Next time I'll find an opportunity like this, I won't let it go, right? just like again, opportunity will come along, later on. Okay. And just because you see the price here and it doesn't do anything, and then you let's say you get out at this price, 30, 40, 50, whatever. Later on, you might be able to buy it at 60 again. Who knows, right? 5 years from now, 6 years from now, 10 years from now. Or maybe it will trade it at, $200, because then we're going to have more dilution and all that stuff, right? Who knows? Then people are going to be like, oh, the next cycle and all that stuff too. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to put this. So, well, we know is planning. Wait, we know is planning something. Oh, he is planning something with crypto. Okay, all right. Let's go with that. That's a good hope to have. I feel. That's a good hope to have, Anthony. I think you're grown on me at the moment, so that's good. That's good. It's a good first step. I know. For me, again, like I said, when I got into this play, or whatever, I got in for the right reason, because I didn't get in because of Roy Kitty, right? And so the price spike doesn't, make me like, oh my God, I gotta sell now, or I'm gonna, miss the opportunity of a lifetime. Ah. No, this is the accumulation mode for sure. And I still have more time, right? And again, I'm no longer like, okay, if the spike happened tomorrow, great, right? Okay, I'll sell real quick, and then we'll still come back for sure, right? But if it doesn't happen ever, I'm okay. All right, So the growth that the company will bring based on these type of purchases, you see this, right? Institutions one by one are changing their mind as we speak right now. Okay, now you might say, well, they're just probably thinking about the spike too. Maybe they're just waiting for the spike. Maybe they know something we don't know and all that stuff. Okay, whatever reason that they buy GameStop right now, it's still bullish, right? It's still a sentiment in which you're like, okay, why are they buying GameStop in droves like this? Okay, and how many graphs after graphs that we have been showing that the institutional ownership has been increasing, by percentage at a time. And why is that? Why is it this time when people are screaming recession? Okay, so why are they not flocking to bond market? Okay, rather than buying GameStop. Okay, of all things, why GameStop? See what I mean? Or it could be ETF, right? Fulfillment. Who knows? But these are individual trusts here, okay? So in my opinion, something is about to happen. And if not, like I said, these institutions will be buying your shares from you as long as you sell it to them at this price, okay? If you're done, waiting on whatever is happening behind the scene, then yeah, it's pretty simple. It's okay. You could press sell right now and be done with it. You don't have to even listen to me talk about GameStop or anyone talk about GameStop in that matter. It's okay. It's okay. Just leave some shares for me, more shares for me. It's okay. I'll be happy with that. But okay, so let's look at the price action real quick. I know I haven't been showing this. Yesterday I was like, oh man, I was gonna show my TA and all that stuff. But, it could have saved some people, mental stability, I feel, Nah, just kidding. Okay, so this Dorito thing, that is happening. Bull flag, I don't know, whatever. But I think we are still we still need to break that $28 resistance. So it's pretty big resistance there. Now, if we break that, what's going to happen? Who knows? It's going to be under 30, it seems, right? So let's mark that too. So these are the heavy resistance. So if we were to even break through that one more time, yeah, I think we're going to see some good ones. So how far do you think it's going to drop here? I don't know. Let me just draw some Fibonacci here just to find out the level. It could drop to, boom. So around here, typically that's what I look for, and around here. Okay, so let me see. Do a golden pocket here. Oh wait, why did I? This one. Golden pocket. Golden pocket. Just some basic things. Don't need to be complicated. There we go. There. So these are the level I'm looking at. Okay. And then if it ever dropped to that, yeah, that's an opportunity to buy a boatload. For me, if I have the money. Okay. Why am I drawing like that? In the lump sum. Okay. Okay, so I think that's pretty promising, right? Why that level? Because I don't see how they could drop it that low again. You know how, dumb storm to perfect. I wouldn't put it past them not to drop it lower. But okay, all right, if you want me to buy at a lower price, I would just buy it in agony, okay? Okay, so absence of evidence is not evidence of absent. There you go. Word of wisdom. Word of wisdom. My peers saying Pokemon McDonald card is at the assembly stage. Almost there. All right. Congratulations. Are you like a collector, Because do you collect them like before GameStop even have a PSA card? I'm kind of curious because like to me I'm not a collector, so I don't really care too much about PSA. I know it has value, I know that, but to me, like, what if I don't know what I sell it at? You see what I mean? What if I don't know that it's actually fake? And so that's my fear of owning those collectibles that it might not be worth what they say it does, And how is it going to hold the value in that sense? So I know in recession times, right, when people are looking for cash and they are losing their job, and so this is a perfect time, in my opinion, if that's what to happen right now, if it's true where the recession is causing people to sell those collection for cash. I think this is the market for it too. But as far as like storing value into the card, I see a need for that, because you could really treat it as a rich people doesn't know what to do with their money. Of course, they're gonna buy a $2 million Pokemon card. Sure, right? Why not? I have $2 million just laying around somewhere at home. Under my couch or something, couch cushion. East Coast collector. Oh, cool. With a convention dealer experience with. Oh, cool. Okay, so it's in your wheelhouse, so that's great. Again, for me, it's not my habit. It's not a habit that I want to pick up either. But I'm pretty curious. We'll see. Like I said, like if I ever buy any collection, I would just limit myself. Okay, $20 or less. That's it, you know? I'm a cheapskate, so I don't want to spend too much money on stuff that I may or may not need. Okay, so I just see like it's pretty unnecessary. Okay. Now, maybe if I have $1 billion, I might change my tune, right? So, because with $1 billion, you just have way too much money. At that point, you know, why even exist? Like, with so much more. I mean, here's the reason why I think why Ron Kitty, sorry, why Ryan Cohen, is you know, choosing this type of project, and I think this is a passion project for sure, because as a, you know, young billionaire, right, you tend to feel like so bored with the money that you have. Like, okay, well, you technically could go anywhere, be anywhere, do anything you want, but you know, you could only do that in an extended period of time and then become bored with it. And so with this one, it's more noble, right? I think it's more, I wouldn't say ethical, but it's, I guess, because he's bored, right? Of just not having anything, any passion to do for life and all that stuff. So keep him busy. But if I'm ever become a billionaire, I wouldn't be here. You guys, like, no, why would I be running a company? I would just be traveling. But of course, like, I've never had that money, so who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll be bored as well. But anyway, that's why I'm trying to attain that much money. But I feel like, you know, I would have to get so lucky to just have $1 billion laying around somewhere. But yeah, again, my point is that for people who have more money than they know what to do with, collectibles they make sense, right? In my opinion. Also, too, of course, like if you're a vendor, if you're like good at buying and selling things, like, that of great values like this, yeah, I mean, it could be a business too. So, not to say that you couldn't own it if you're not a billionaire. Okay, so let's see, what else should we talk about? I know, like, people are predicting this, like, and I'm like, how could it be that low? But anything could happen. People could be freaking out, but I don't think it's gonna fall that low. You know, if anything, we're moving up here and kind of trailing that way, like this more. Trump was alluded to big announcements today, I guess, like in press conference. So what those announcements is for, who knows? Again, he could say anything. The market would just dump or pump or whatever, right? Depends. But I think the big one would be Jerome Powell's speech tomorrow, rate decision or whatever. People are already, I guess, expecting that he's gonna cut something in June, not immediately this month. He alluded to it way back, I think 3 months ago, when he talks about, you know, it has to be higher for longer, data dependent and all that. The same speech. And one of the things that is being put forward already is that June rate cut is going to, he's gonna start sometime in June. So that'd be good. But again, if he were to allude to, you know, more and more rate cuts, After that, yes, the market's gonna do well. Okay, so again, XRT or whatever, right? ETF blowing up again. Lots of that is happening. Look at this. Put. People are buying put in the 95 strike price. Pretty crazy. When is it expire? Okay, January 16, 2026. So next year. Pretty interesting. People are noticing it's kind of 25 blocks here. So what happened when this happened last time? You guys, like, do we know? Okay. That's crazy, huh? All right. So again, like, lots of institutions out there. They keep buying more and more GameStop here. Hopefully they're gonna be long-term holders, right? But they also going to dump too. Just preface ahead of time here. Just because they're buying, that doesn't mean that they're gonna hold it for a long time. So understand that too. I meet the famous writer to sign some of my stuff and create it. Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, I'm sure that's the way that you would get the most expensive one, right? Most rare, one that are autographed and all that stuff. And yeah, some people might buy it from you at a higher price. So, or you could just keep it for yourself or your grandkids and all that stuff, right? Who knows? It could be worth a lot, a lot. I wish I would go down. Wait, it would go down that low. Okay, cool. Yes, I know, right? I mean, $16. These people, $16 a share. Okay, all right. Let's go. So yeah, this is what I've been noticing too, you guys. The lowest IV ever. This is typically the best time to buy call option. I know. I'm not gonna buy some more. I had to. Pretty low right now in price. I might add 2 more just to cap it, but I'm not going to hold it forever until the end of time. So, but I might push it to. I have the one in May 30th, so I might push it to June 30th. So 2 more months to until expiration. But yeah, IV is pretty low. Something is about to happen. Again, IV spike is coming, right? It has to, and even if it comes just like in the middle here, you still, call buyers. Make sure it's in the money, right, or closer to the strike price. So, if you want to take advantage of that, if the price goes up, if the price comes down, of course you're gonna lose too. So, let's see. So yeah, people are predicting a whole bunch of things, but let's see. I'm kind of getting towards the end here, you guys. I'm just wanted to make sure I cover everything here. I think I get most of the stuff that I need to say off of my chest, and hopefully you guys learn something new, or at least have some inspirational talk about how it should be, life, company, which company you should at least invest in or promote. If you don't put the money here, at least promote this type of company, you guys. I'm telling you, this type of CEO is rare. This type of leadership is rare. This type of company is rare. It's hard to find. It's much like Bitcoin. Okay. Heck, it's rarer than Bitcoin. It's only one. One out of 21 million coins, right? So only one Ryan Cohen here, but there's 21 million Bitcoin. So Ryan is even more valuable than Bitcoin. Okay. So let's think of it that way. And there's more to come for sure, you guys. For sure. And you know, this ET thing kind of make me think of NFT marketplace too, because you know how the NFT marketplace was a space astronaut with the moon in the back, right? So maybe that's what he's alluding to, is bringing the NFT marketplace back, you know, in some way, and yeah, connecting with the gaming in the ether. Okay, in the ether. Okay. Just my interpretation, you know, being try to have some cultish behavior here. Nothing new, so to speak. Okay, so with this one, let's end with this one. 5 minutes is a bit long, so let's see. I know this is about Bitcoin, nothing to do with GameStop or anything, but Bitcoin is going to play quite a bit of role in the next couple of years. So pay attention, and of course, GB is gonna buy some Bitcoin too. So it's relevant for sure. So let's listen in.
Using it in that way, and then not a long time ago came along deep research, and that was a big aha moment, because first I used an order of magnitude more computing power, and then I used 2 orders of magnitude more computing power, and then I started asking questions via deep research. Well, how would you design this security, or is this possible? I have a question which would require 5 lawyers and 3 financiers to answer, and it would take them 2 weeks to answer, and I would put this chat in deep research mode, and I would grind it, and it would grind through 50 sources and work for 15 minutes and come back. And it doesn't necessarily give me the answer that I can immediately act on, but it gives me somewhere between 80 and 95% of what I need. And then I take that to the finance department. I take that to the legal department. So a lot of our innovative capital markets activity, things like Strife, things like Strike, we had to fight through all sorts of complicated legal issues, complicated financial issues. You know, we did a convertible preferred stock. It had never been done before. We listed it on NASDAQ. It had never been done before. We attached a shelf registration to it. It had never been done before. We made it a perpetual dividend, good for 1,000 years. It had never been done before. We created a perpetual call option. It had never been done before. We put a shelf registration on it. Never been done before. Now, when you go to 25 professionals with 30 years experience, say, I want to do 20 things that have never been done before, and I want to do them in a hurry. I need an answer in the next 48 hours. Right? That creates a very stressful situation. And what I found with AI is the AI doesn't have a lot of ego. I can ask it a question. I can tell it that's not right. I can tell it that's stupid. I can disagree. I can work through my issues. And then after I've gone through 20 iterations, which would have ground human beings into a pulp, you know, I can then take the 95% answer to the finance team and the legal team and the bankers and the market and say, I think this is plausible. And I don't just share the result, I share the link. I say, go into the chat, you know, I've uploaded 27 documents. I've actually had to grind through case law of every public company that's ever done this before. I've analyzed the finance. I think it's more likely than not this will work. And at that point, when you've taken the process to 95%, you can then get to a result and build consensus. And half of AI is about consensus and doing it in a cheerful, constructive way, right? When I'm yelling, I prefer to yell at the AI, right? I really want to do this. No, you can't. Well, what if I do this? No, well, and eventually you get to a point where maybe you can move forward. And I can say, with a high degree of confidence, right? A lot of the things we've done in the capital markets, we just couldn't have done that. Those two preferred stocks, Strife and Strife, are the first AI-designed securities that I know of, certainly in our industry. So I've been inspired by it, and I think we're just scratching the surface. That the next step will be to go from deep research, which is where by the way, I went from the $20 a month, you get a few of these things, to the $200 a month subscription where you get unlimited, to the we're cutting you off because even unlimited, we think you're burning our silicon. I think we're going to go from deep research to agents where I just say, hey, you work for me, scan everything in the Twitter sphere today about knowing what I think and tell me what I should say, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do it. And then scan the capital markets. I tend to ask questions like, look at every single publicly traded company and give me the open interest divided by their market cap and the liquidity and the trend of the liquidity, and then tell me where we stand. Click. Okay. Yeah, and the next step will be, well, why don't you just do that every day? And then, so what I think I've learned is we're going to consume exponentially more silicon and exponentially more electricity and digital power because that's the way you break through to the new idea and the new market. And you just can't go the 20th century way. You can't even do things the way we did it 3-4 years ago. And in the words of Magnus Carlsen, it's too weak, it's too slow. You have to be faster and stronger and smarter. Using it in that way.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, gotta be stronger. Yeah, smarter. Okay. So, there you go. All right, so let me end it here. Thank you so much for joining. But before that, I just want to mention, apparently New Hampshire just got the first bill passed to have Bitcoin as a Bitcoin reserve. So, yeah, it's coming. The paradigm shift is coming into Bitcoin for sure. So if one state is going to do this, of course, again, they'll probably, wait for a couple of years before the other states start to join. And so maybe they'll see if this state's going to do well in a couple of years. And the years after, it's going to be more and more either corporation like MicroStrategy, Bitcoin will be added to their balance sheets. Not only that, nation states going to add their balance sheet too. So it's going to happen slowly, but don't be fooled by, the price action. If it spikes or whatever, it may not just be one purchase. So, and this trend is going to continue to go higher in terms of mass adoptions and all that stuff, right? So understand that you are in an industry in which I think is still new, and it's an industry that needs a lot of fighting in terms of regulation too. I know the news about crypto has been kind of negative lately because of the stablecoin legislation has been blocked by Democrats, obviously. I'm sure they don't want this administration to move forward with any type of technology that could change, the economy altogether here. Of course, again, they want more time in order to accumulate for themselves, right? Who are they? It's, the big ones, the big banks, the whatever. And so, of course, they don't want that legislation to pass through right now until after they accumulate all they need to accumulate. And meanwhile, they will tell retail that it's risky, it's scam, it's all of that, right? Just to keep you out of, the asset altogether, while it's still cheap. Yes, Bitcoin under $100,000 is still cheap. I know. You don't believe it? It's okay. When it reach 1 million, then you'll be like, oh, I should have. When it reach 10 million, oh, I should have, right? But until then, yeah, we'll see. Only time will tell. I will let you go. All right. Thank you so much.